If you work in a corporate environment, then it's likely that you'll want to create a pivot table using data that is not stored in your active workbook. In this movie, I will show you how to connect to an external data source and create your pivot table based on that data. I will start out with the Connect sample file, which you can find in the Chapter 1 folder of your exercise files archive. To create your pivot table, click the Insert tab on the ribbon, and then click Pivot Table. That displays the Create Pivot Table dialog box. Now, choose the Use an External Data Source option, and then click the Choose Connection button. Doing so displays the Existing Connections dialog box. Now click Browse for more. That displays the Select Data Source dialog box. Now you can navigate to the folder that contains the external data workbook, and that happens to be on my desktop in my exercise files folder in Chapter 1. And I'll double-click the external data file, and doing so displays the Select Table dialog box. There's only one table in that file. It's called External Data, so I'll leave it selected, and the first row of the data does contain column headers, so I'll leave that box checked and click OK. Now back in the Create Pivot Table dialog box, I can select where to create the pivot table. In this case, I'll leave it on the existing worksheet, Sheet 1, and it will start at cell A1, which is currently selected, and I'll click OK. Doing so creates the pivot table, and I can add fields using the controls in the Pivot Table Fields pane. So for example, I could display each department in a column, put month in rows, and put sales in the values area. The techniques that I showed you for connecting to an Excel workbook are very similar to the steps you would use to connect to other data sources. Play around with the Select Data Source dialog box, and I'm sure you'll find your way quickly.